Hi, hello, can you hear
Hello?
me?
Is this thing on?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Hello?
Hi. Oh, hi there. These things are vital when you're trying to travel throughout the world. They keep us in touch with people and friends. They navigate, find out Ubers, and most importantly, find us good eats. But there are so many options now, and technology is changing so fast. So we're going to share our story of where we were in regards to cell phone plans traveling abroad, some horror stories that we had to go through, and how we get to where we're today, and maybe where we'll be a couple years from now. All right, let's get started. Hi, and welcome to the Adventures of Dave.
And Nikki.
We're a retired couple traveling the world full-time, slowly, on a budget of $5,000 a month. And we're glad you're here to join us on our adventure. Today, we're going to talk about these things and the role they play in our travel, and most importantly, the phone plans that we eventually decided on for this moment, for immediate future. So, just a little history. My work from the past 30 years or so had AT&T as the phone plan, and they were the one that assigned me the phone number, which I've kept to this day. And it worked fine during our previous life, before retirement, raising a family, and we were just with AT&T. The service was fine. It was pretty fast for our area.
And how many decades?
Probably close to 30 years, three decades, yeah. It was fast enough, and we'll basically stay with them because, well, I was just too lazy to do anything else because of inertia, and it worked, and we just honestly had other things in life that took priority. Once we hit retirement, things began to change a little bit. We started dipping our toes into practicing slow travel, and we took some abroad trips to places like Italy.
I think Costa Rica was the first one.
That's right.
Italy, Vietnam. And these were just shorter vacation type trips at first, 10 days, 14 days. Just getting our feet wet with the traveling. We hadn't decided to fully launch nomadically yet, which we'll be doing in about 8 months. So at first we had our AT&T, and we just used the international plan that it came with. So once you're in a different country, it can sense that you're in a different country, and it charged $10 a day, which adds up. If you're gone for 2 weeks for two people, that's $280 that you need to add onto your travel budget.
Yeah, I think they call it International Day Pass is what AT&T called this little gimmicky thing that they have. And it worked pretty well. Now keep in mind, this whole time, our cell phone plan with the 2 additional family members that we have with us was roughly in the $250 a month range. So while we are abroad to Costa Rica or Italy, the International Day Plan was tacking on $10 per person per day, like she was saying.
It went up to 12.
And then recently it went up to 12, right? And while it worked pretty well, there are other solutions out there. So we began exploring those.
The first new thing we tried when we landed in Vietnam was getting a physical SIM for our phones.
Those are those little tiny things that you can actually...
Looks like a little microchip.
Yeah.
Right. And we did that at the airport, and they were so fast and efficient. They changed currency with one hand and put in the SIM with the other hand.
It's crazy.
And it worked for the most part. I remember yours broke down a little bit, and we had to find a tech store, and they were gracious enough to just fix it for free. We had to reset it a couple times.
Yeah, I think that was in the streets of Hanoi somewhere.
Right, and they gave us a Vietnamese phone number. It was a little confusing. We were able to keep in touch with people back home. We had our family sign up for WhatsApp, but it's a little bit more difficult getting your general friends and others to sign up for an app to keep in touch with you when you're overseas. It's not used that much here in the US, and people aren't familiar with it. But we try to get them to use WhatsApp. But we still had some problems. We couldn't do a group text for some reason. And we had to do some workarounds. I was unable, I think it was an AT&T thing, I was unable to text my Android friend users, which was really strange. The messages just weren't going through. And so I had to do some workarounds like using Facebook Messenger.
So the main issue that the physical SIMs that we had in Vietnam was that when we tried to do group text with like the SMS, the regular texting app in your phones, the group text, when it went to different types of phones, like Android phones and iPhones, it wasn't getting there because the physical SIM was data only. And we couldn't like ask our friends or, to install like a data only messaging app like WhatsApp. And one of the most important things to us while on the road in the past and moving forward is staying in touch and being connected with our friends.
Some of my closest people are Androids.
Yeah. And
Android users.
And we use iPhones. And so that was kind of frustrating being out of touch. And so we had to figure out a solution for this. So then our next big trip, or the few trips, was to Europe somewhere and different other places. So we've heard about this technology called eSIMs, and we use this company called Airalo. So eSIM is basically like software, like an app that is on your phone, which gives you like a different phone number when you pay this company for data. And Airalo is this company we use. So we did that. And I believe your phone has to be unlocked and fully paid off or something for that to happen.
Yes.
And that worked well with data. We're able to get fast data. We landed wherever we are. We're able to do whatever we do, get our maps, navigate, find restaurants, order Ubers. But we still had the issue of group texting our friends back home. Now, this is with normal, regular texting, not with data-only texting apps like WhatsApp. WhatsApp works beautifully over data. We even had a few experiences where somehow the texts went through, and because the group text was, let's say, with like a dozen people, every time there was a reply, it went to a dozen people. And later on, a couple months later, when we saw our bill, we got some nasty surprises of being heavily charged by AT&T for these texts that wasn't even going through their network. A few months later, we found out exactly what the issue was, and it's something called Wi-Fi calling. AT&T charges for Wi-Fi calling, and we were newbies at the time, and we didn't even understand what that was. And so getting nasty bills, big ones, that we weren't looking forward to or expecting, it's just not a nice surprise, right?
Right. Yeah, I think there was one incident where there were 17 people on a group text,
Wow.
being invited to something. There was 2 Android users, and I said, "Oh, we're still over here." And I sent one photo, and instead of charging me two chunks of whatever, 2 charges for the 2 Android users, it charged me 17. It charged me for everybody, even if they were on an iPhone. We didn't understand that at all.
Yeah. So we just sucked it and paid it. Lesson learned.
I think the straw that broke the camel's back was being in the Phuket airport, and a dear friend of mine was just really going through it. So I had some time and I wanted to chat with her. We had the AT&T, what do you call it, turned off? Cellular was turned off. I was on a Thailand eSIM. I was on the airport Wi-Fi, and I spoke to my friend for 20 minutes. We came home to a $60 bill for that one phone call. So even though I had an eSIM and was on the airport Wi-Fi, because that phone was used, AT&T felt that they could charge us that. It was really disappointing.
Yeah, and we for sure had the AT&T eSIM turned off. It all goes back to the Wi-Fi calling situation. So we were done. We need a different solution. So what happens here? So we met some people. So there's this wonderful couple. Their name is Rick and Daphne, and they run an amazing YouTube channel called Retired Nomad Adventures. And we love following their videos. And so I reached out to them because we were going to be in the same place at the same time and asked, whether you guys want to meet up and grab a bite or something. And they said yes. And we spent an amazing evening just laughing and getting to know each other really well. At one point at night, cell phones came up. So I asked them, what do you guys use? Because, we're at a loss and we just need a solution that works for what we need. And they told us what they use. And as they continued detailing it out, I was like, really? I was like, seriously?
It sounded too good to be true. I thought that they had got some really random special deal or something.
Yeah. And so they go, no, man, just check it out. So I came home I visited the store they asked, the service, and it's all legit. So they use, and we are now using T-Mobile, which is a carrier that's been around for a long time. And, I know about it, but I never thought much of them because I was an AT&T customer. So some of the details and perks of this plan that we're now on is this. Once we switch over, we're able to shave, first off, about $100 a month off the AT&T bill, with everything being the same. Basically, we have unlimited, we're talking United States, unlimited data, unlimited everything. Everything is cool.
And this is for 4 users because we have 2 adult children in college that we're still supporting.
And so another crazy perk that I really couldn't believe is that T-Mobile was able to completely pay off the outstanding balance that was on the 2 late model phones that the 2 other family member in our house has. They came out to $1,160. I couldn't believe they actually did this, but we went through the whole process, and lo and behold, this actually appeared in our bank account. And now, just a little side note of this little $1,100 spending is that if you guys are watching this channel, you guys might or may not play the travel credit card points hotel air flight game. And so what that kind of entails real fast is you apply for credit cards and you have a minimum spend for a certain amount of time. And you get some bonus points that you can apply to hotels, travel, flights, whatever. We were able to, at that moment in time, pay off AT&T using one of these credit cards we're trying to reach the minimum of, and then get reimbursed back by T-Mobile, and then paid off our credit card bill. So it's like a win-win-win. It's totally awesome. As far as how it works internationally is while we're abroad anywhere, we don't have to deal with any other situations or apps, like no eSIMs, no physical SIMs, nothing. We stay on the T-Mobile plan, same phone number, we just land and it'll just magically work. According to their website, in about 215 countries worldwide. So this is like a no-brainer because we just land and we don't have to do a thing. They have unlimited texts from abroad to anyone, and it allows unlimited attachments of these texts. I asked these questions very specifically to the sales person that was helping us.
Yeah, that salesman got a grilling.
Yeah, because we have very specific needs. Not everybody that walks into a store, will be out of the country 10 months out of the year. So thank you, Rick and Daphne, for this awesome tip. We're very happy so far.
We'll link to their channel below.
Yeah. And here's a picture of us having dinner. Check it out. So even though when we're back at home in the States, it's unlimited everything, that is not the case while we're abroad. For the T-Mobile plan that we have, which is the Go 55 plan, I believe it's called, we get 5 gigabytes of data per person per month. When we were using eSIMs, we were buying them in little packages of about 5 gigs each, and we were measuring and keeping tabs of how much data we actually use. And it's not even that much. 5 gig is quite a bit for us.
We had a lot left over, and this is even navigating using Google Maps and everything.
Yeah. And Wi-Fi is so prevalent now. Whenever we're in our hotel rooms, we're on Wi-Fi. Coffee shops, basically anyway, even at restaurants when we're stopping for a bite. And so we just have to keep an eye on the usage. Now, this 5 gigs is like high-speed data. If the situation comes up where we actually exhaust all this 5 within this month period, they're not going to cut us off, T-Mobile. It'll just slow us down a little bit. And so I think if we just refrain from streaming a lot of movies using T-Mobile cellular data, I think we're good to go.
Yeah, some people will download their Google Maps so that they can turn off so they won't use up too much data when they're on the go.
Yeah.
And they will charge 25 cents a minute for international calls. So that urgent call I had with my friend at the Phuket airport, it would have cost only, instead of $60, it would have cost only $5.
Crazy, right? I don't mind paying for something as long as we kind of know upfront how much it is. You know, if I need to talk to someone and spend $60 a phone call at 25 cents a minute, I'll do it as long as we know the cost upfront. The thing with AT&T was it was a total surprise. Film, you know, surprises can be good or bad, and that was not.
It wasn't a happy surprise.
Yeah, not a happy surprise. In addition to all this good stuff that we get from our T-Mobile plan, we also get free Netflix every month, free Apple TV.
Slurpees on Tuesday.
Heck yeah!
If you watched our health video, you could probably guess that we don't really hit the Slurpees, but if we wanted to, we could get a free one on Tuesdays with our T-Mobile.
I like Slurpees. Also, we haven't done this perk yet. You get a free year of AAA membership, which is always nice. So, you know, to summarize, basically, we're saving $100 a month flat out. They paid off $1,160 worth of phones.
Did you mention that they upgraded my phone?
Oh, no, we forgot that one.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah. I got a much newer iPhone upgrade for only $100. Now, they wouldn't let me just go ahead and give them $100 and pay it off and have it unlocked right away. It'll be, I pay like $4 a month. Or
for a few years, yeah.
For 2 years, yeah. Right.
So, I mean, that's kind of the summary of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, and we don't have the expense of Airalo or any kind of eSIM service that we deal with, because those, you know, they're not crazy expensive, but that is an expense as well.
Mm-hmm. And it's a hassle. You have to look up your next country, pick a package, download it, make sure it's turned on before you land so that it's working when you hit the ground. There's some steps you have to take.
Yeah. You know, we like eSIMs. It was, after taking the steps, it was a pretty seamless experience. While we're in Thailand and other places, that eSIM was lightning fast. So we're very happy with it.
So what are we going to do moving forward when our 2 years is up?
Well, technology changes, and so we'll see what's available at that time. Maybe in a couple of years, our life situation might be different. Our plan that we right now with T-Mobile for people, we might be able to shed 2 of them off, and the 2 family members will most likely be paying for their own stuff pretty soon. So they'll leave the 2 of us. And once the 2 years is up and her $100 phone is paid off at $4 increments, we'll explore what the options are at that time. There is a company out there called Tello. I believe it's Tello. A lot of expat friends of mine uses them. The US-based company, just a phone company, but one of the main selling points is they do not charge for Wi-Fi calling. You get free Wi-Fi calling, which is what the AT&T detail that really kind of got us. You couple Tello with an eSIM company like Airalo or many out there, and that works for a lot of people. You're able to text properly to all the groups. So maybe in a couple of years, we will revisit this option, but we just kind of want to share you what's our roundabout way of all the hoops that we jumped through to get to where we are today.
And we'll try out the T-Mobile on our upcoming trip in a couple weeks to Europe and let you know how that goes. And we'd love to hear from you about what you use when you travel, or if you have any tips or tricks for your phone and texting and staying in touch.
We're all ears because, you know, we don't know what we don't know. So please share some of your ninja hacks with us. If you find this video helpful, you can click on the like button, right? And subscribe. We're just getting started with a lot more things to share. You know, we're going to be moving around a lot in the world in the coming months. So you won't have to stare at our boring living room behind us too much longer. And as Nikki was mentioning, we'll be off to Europe on a cruise in a bunch of different countries. So we're going to be doing some pretty exciting stuff. So please come along with us. It'll be an adventure, right?
Right.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.